So Yehudi Menuhin and the Scottish Fiddle Band for the final time, I promise you, unless they're in the closing ceremony presentation. Just as well so Yehudi's not demanding residuals from us. I know how you would have enjoyed it, though, out there in Australia for whatever time it was. Brilliant stuff. OK, let's continue the Ceilidh, the Scottish party. Let's go out to the Meadowbank Stadium to Lisa Forrest, Norman May and Tim Lane for the closing ceremony of the 13th Commonwealth Games.
Well, as the Meadowbank host, I'll bid a warm welcome to Lisa and Norman. I've been here throughout the competition, or throughout the track and field part of it. Track and field didn't get underway until the third day of the Games. Lisa and Norman have been doing their bit for King and Country at the Commonwealth pool, and now it's their pleasure to come back to Meadowbank, where they sat with me at the opening ceremony. Lisa, good afternoon. Had a good time?
Yes, Tim, it's been wonderful. It's certainly different at the track than at the pool. I'm glad that on days like today we were inside, that's for sure. That's the view anyway from Arthur's seat or somewhere. Arthur's seat at the back of Meadowbank. Should be a wonderful ceremony. I was interested when Rick got up out of this chair, Tim, and he said, I'm not going to watch the closing ceremony because it's the end of something wonderful. It sort of sums up everything, doesn't it?
Sure does. I remember asking Norman after Brisbane in '82 how this compared with other Commonwealth Games. He said, well, this was the best, but it shares the honour with Edinburgh 1970. What about '86, Norm?
Well, I think the leaden sky, the hint of rain, the icy wind can't dampen the warmth of this occasion, nor the warmth of the city. There's something special about Edinburgh. I just can't say what it is, but I think it's the people themselves and their friends and kindness and things like that. That this is as good a Games as 1970. I'm going away with exactly the same impression, and I'd come here any time they ask me. It's a great place. And boycotts. The only losers in this place is people who boycott it. But I'll leave the opening part to you, Tim, and the ceremonial. We've only got one copy of all the standard bearers of the nations, and I've got it, so I'll look after the creative teams, if you don't mind. And back to Lisa and Tim as the pipes and drums come on the arena.
Yes, the Royal Guard of Honour, the 1st Battalion, the Black Watch.
Shades of opening day.
Very much so.
In some ways it seems like a year ago, and in another it seems like
only
yesterday.
yesterday, that's right. Stands absolutely packed here. And there's a lot of competitors over on this side just dying to run onto the arena too.
The Guard of Honour taking up its position on the track, facing the Royal Box.
The most senior Highland regiment, going back to the days of the Jacobite revolutions.
And now 3 flags being raised on the victory ceremony flag poles at the main stadium. The Union Jack flying proudly in the centre. The Scottish flag on the Union Jack's right, left as we look at it. And the flag of New Zealand on the other side. New Zealand will be the host in 4 years' time. Flags have stood very proud for most of the 10 days. The winds have been strong and gusty. The weather often damp and cold, but the enthusiasm has been undiminished.
awaiting the Queen's re-entry into the stadium.
Lieutenant General Sir Norman Arthur, the General Officer commanding Scotland.
And there's the state trumpeters of the Lifeguards, date back to 1661. They'll play the fanfare majestic as the Queen enters the stadium with Mr. Peter Heatley, Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation.
And what a time it's been for us to be in Britain. The royal wedding on the eve of the Games. English pageantry at its best. And in Edinburgh, we're seeing how the Scots do it. And don't they do it well?
Trumpeters of the Lifeguards are usually mounted on grey horses. But on this occasion, they're on foot, wearing the royal blue jockey caps of their dress. Usually they wear red plumes, while the rest of their regiment wear white plumes.
Majesty, attended by an equerry in waiting, will be conducted by Mr. Peter Heatley to the saluting dais.
Played by the 1st Battalion, the Black Watch, and the 1st Battalion, the Queen's Own Highlanders. While at the same time, a 21-gun salute was fired from Holyrood Park, or Queen's Park, as it's now called.
And now a fly past. It was so quick on opening day.
We didn't get to see too much of it, did we?
But not this time. And the colours of the Commonwealth on display.
The Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team and the Red Arrows. British Aerospace Hawks, based at the RAF Scampton.
And with the naked eye above us at Meadowbank, a superb sight.
We're coming back again.
Majesty inspecting the ranks. The Guard of Honour.
With Major Sir Andrew Ogilvie Wedderburn. As we told you in the opening ceremony, dating back to 1715, when the Stuart kings were trying to get back to the British control, to the British throne, they formed their own regiment. First time in 14 years that the regiment has been stationed in Edinburgh. The last 5 years they've been part of the British Army in the Rhine and served in Northern Ireland in the Queen's bodyguard while she holidays at Balmoral. Queen's Own Highlanders also part of the Jacobite uprisings. They can trace their ancestry back to two distinguished Highland families, the Seaforths and the Camerons. Each had their own Highland regiments, and then they amalgamated in 1961. The Queen Mother is the Colonel-in-Chief, her brothers serving in the Black Watch in the First World War.
The 9th time in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II that the Commonwealth Games, or Commonwealth and Empire Games, have been staged, starting with Vancouver in 1954, Cardiff in 58, Australia played host in Perth in 1962, the Caribbean Carnival in 66, Kingston, Jamaica, Edinburgh 1970, New Zealand, Christchurch in 74, Canada, Edmonton in 78, Australia again, those great Brisbane Games of 82, and back to Edinburgh in 86.
Guard of Honour now march out of the stadium while their bands remain in position. Queen on the saluting dais with Peter Heatley.
I don't know about you, Lisa, but I've gone mad on tartan since I've been over here.
I've noticed, Tim.
I'm wearing the Buchanan tartan around my neck today. And for those relatives of mine in Australia who might be burning the midnight oil, you can expect a few tartan presents when I get back.
Lots of people have gone mad on tartan, I think. And on drums and pipes.
I must say I'm glad I'm not wearing a kilt today.
Yes. Definitely needs something under it today.
The Guard of Honour leaving the Meadowbank Stadium, which is packed to capacity for the closing ceremony. Her Majesty and Peter Heatley, Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, on the saluting dais, and waiting to be joined by Mr. Arthur Campbell, Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Council for Scotland, and Mr. Kenneth Borthwick, Chairman of the Organising Committee.
Fanfare announcing the entry of the massed bands from the British Army, Navy and Air Force. Behind the pipe bands, the placard bearers, flag bearers and 3 team competitors, 3 abreast, all entering from the east gate.
And as they come in, so does Norman May once again.
Yes, good evening from Edinburgh. Good morning to you all round Australia. The pipes and drums enter the arena to our right, and they'll be followed by the standard bearers of the nations, but only a small handful of competitors. All of the competitors do not march, and the Australians, of course, will lead this parade. And we're represented here by Gail Martin, who will carry the flag. Gail Martin, of course, is the gold medalist in both the discus and shot. Gold and silver 8 years ago in Edmonton in Canada, 2 silver medals in Brisbane, and she's retiring after these games, so she was a splendid choice to carry the flag, and we'll be seeing her in just a moment. Audrey Tucker, first ever medal in badminton, gold medal that is, in the mixed doubles. Nick Bricolitis, the tiny weightlifter, another gold medalist, repeating his Brisbane success. And Alan Smith, a gold medal in the small ball rifle, are the 3 athletes to represent Australia, along with the team general manager, Arthur Tunstall. And it might be appropriate, as the athletes are about to enter, that we run through the roll of honour for the Australian team.
Okay.
In track and field, 9, Debbie Flintoff, the 400 metres, the 400 metres hurdles. Gail Martin, the discus and the shot. Simon Baker, 30-kilometre walk. Gary Honey, the long jump. Robert De Castella, the men's marathon. Lisa Martin, the women's marathon. Chris Stanton, the high jump.
And 5 in cycling, Martin Vinicombe in the 1,000 time trial, Dean Woods, the 4,000 individual pursuit, Gary Newand in the sprint, the 4,000 metre teams pursuit, and Wayne McCarney in the 10-mile race.
The weightlifters played their part too, as they've done in many, many games, with 4 gold medals. Greg Hayman in 52 kilogram, Nick Bricolitis 56, Bill Stelios 75, and the mighty Dean Lucan, the super heavyweight.
In the shooting, the centre fire pistol, Alan Smith in the small ball rifle, Patrick Murray and Stan Galinsky in the full ball rifle.
And in rowing, the men's 8, the women's 8, Peter Antonick, the men's lightweight sculls, and Adair Ferguson, the women's lightweight sculls. And I just see the Australian flag being carried into the arena now. We haven't got it on pictures yet, so we'll just see that in a moment as Lisa runs through finally the swimming and diving.
Yes, Sue Landells in the 400 metres and 200 metres individual medleys, Duncan Armstrong in the 400 metres freestyle, the women's 4x200 metre freestyle relay, Greg Fasala in the 100 freestyle, Robert Leary in the 200 metres freestyle, the men's 4x1 freestyle, Susie Bomer in the 200 metres freestyle, the men's 4x2 freestyle relay, Jason Plummer, Georgie Parks in the 200 back, and in the diving, Sean Panay in the springboard, and Craig Rogerson in the high board.
And there's a nice close-up view of Gail Martin, Australia's great field event competitor. Behind her, Arthur Tunstall was the team general manager, and the others I've mentioned are Audrey Tucker in badminton, liquid collectors in weightlifting, and Alan Smith in small bore rifle. Now, the countries on, they're coming on abreast here, and we just run through some of the people who are carrying the flags. For Canada, we have Sharon Bowes, a 19-year-old shooter, a gold in air rifle pairs. That's the Canadian flag, and of course the Canadians just tipped out by England on the very last event of competition, and it finished up 52 gold medals to England, 51 to Canada, 40 to Australia, and it was daylight fourth. The next was New Zealand with only 7. So the standard bearers are going to march on 3 abreast, and we have a very famous athlete carrying the English standard in the immortal Steve Cram. What a competitor.
Wasn't he magnificent?
And despite just a little bit of drizzle and the cold sort of day here, a very warm reception for the competing athletes. The Australian team getting the honour of going first on their own, and then the remainder marching in groups of 3. They go around the arena in an anti-clockwise direction, and they come down past the saluting dais, where they'll be going past Her Majesty the Queen.
And it must be a long walk around that windy back straight then.
Yes, Arthur Tunstall very happy there. Behind him you can see Audrey Tucker. What an achievement that is. First ever in badminton, the tiny figure of Nick Vigolatis and the giant Alan Smith, small ball rifle. See the flag of England there being carried just as Steve Cram. Falkland Islands were in trouble last time in 1982, always represented by shooters. Cayman Islands there. Let's see who they've got there. Flag bearer Craig Merrin, the 19-year-old cyclist from the 1,000-metre time trial. Some of the athletes are on there for Canada, for example. Alex Ongano, the 22-year-old cyclist. And Steve Cram, of course, getting a big close-up, and that doesn't surprise. Also there, Tessa Sanderson, gold in the javelin. Gillian Clark, gold in the badminton. Joe Lyons, gold in the boxing. Andy Jamison in the butterfly, gold medal in swimming. And the team manager is Dick Palmer. Get nice up close of those.
I think England have a few more than 3 athletes there.
I think they've got 5 listed in the English team. That's a bit, they get 1 more than everybody else.
Fiji, Gibraltar and Guernsey.
Yes, and pistol shooter Adrian Breton for Guernsey, Leslie Drake, a 31-year-old Ralph Scudder for Gibraltar, and Albert Miller and Catherine for Fiji. And now as I come round towards the main straight, we see the roar then, but the applause in that instance was for Scotland coming on last. And of course, the white figure of Mac is behind him, isn't it?
Yes, he was at the pool a lot. Must be finding it a bit chilly out here, I think. Big cheer for the Scottish team, though.
So all of the teams are now on the arena, and it's a very quick parade, this one. It doesn't take as long as the opening ceremony because it doesn't involve so many competitors. We had a record number here, by the way, even though there was a boycott. We had nearly 1,700 taking part in this. And now behind the athletes, there's the officials who were volunteers in this game are coming onto the arena as well. These are the officials, the hostesses, the people behind the scenes who made these games such a great success. And the games were a great success in terms of competition, some very high standard competition in all sports. Now the Australians are just going past the saluting dais.
The hats of the bands there, if we get a higher shot, are just forming the white cross of St. Andrew in the middle of the field.
That's the head of the parade. Looks like Steve Cram's got his own special camera.
Why wouldn't he? He's terrific.
So this closing ceremony, not only a tribute to the competitors, but also a tribute to the people who did so much behind the scenes. The officials, timekeepers, gatekeepers, hostesses, the lot. They're all here, they're all coming out, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them. And it's the first time they've been given any public recognition.
I think that parade is going to be longer than all of the athletes put together here today.
Different parts of the world they come. Channel Islands, the Isle of Man, and way down to Hong Kong. Of course, Peter Kelly is the name of the Isle of Man flag bearer. Always a Kelly from the Isle of Man. Jersey is John Tilitos, and Hong Kong's flag bearer is KF Ho. In fact, they say they have 2 of them. There doesn't seem to be 2 there, but they're shooters. Malawi, the Maldives, and Lesotho. Maldives is Mohammed Baji, a badminton player, 34 years of age. Malawi is Fletcher Capito, a 21-year-old boxer, or 27-year-old welterweight boxer, and an unknown gentleman from Lesotho. New Zealanders, by the way, for New Zealand, Stephanie Foster is carrying the flag. Yes, I can see her there. She's behind this group. We'll just get this group through first. The New Zealand team have gone through, in fact, but Stephanie Foster for New Zealand is the first woman to carry a flag in the closing swing. They did the same in the opening swing. And Stephanie, of course, won 2 gold medals in rowing.
And Sylvia Hume, just a couple behind her, won the 100 metres back, came from nowhere to do that at the pool. Lots of memorable performances all over Edinburgh.
Now, these are the 3 flags of Singapore is there, Swaziland, and Northern Ireland. Northern Irish competitor, the flag bearer, obviously marching in a green coat. Vanuatu, Wales, and the far side. Can you read that, Lisa? Just over there. A bit hard on the monitor, one at the extreme right.
So Western Samoa.
Western Samoa, yes, that's right. Vanuatu, Wales, and Western Samoa, and Vanessa Head, the 29-year-old discus silver medalist, is carrying the flag for Wales, and for Western Samoa, Siege Fido, who's a 20-year-old boxer.
The Scottish
and
flag
behind them,
is
the Scottish flag has fallen apart. Well, that's I didn't think it would ever come down. And there's Mac behind them, so there's some hasty readjustment to the Scottish flag. And carrying the flag for Scotland is a silver medalist, Albert Patrick, the wrestler, in the 130-kilogram class. Also there, George Adrian, the gold medal bowls pair. Grant Knox, the gold medal in bowls, and Liz Lynch, the gold medal in the 10,000 metres, are 3 of the athletes here. And I think Scotland's got a couple of extras. Now the cheers for the officials. They're coming past, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
They're still coming out of the tunnel.
So it just gives you an idea of the scope and the size of the organisation behind these names. So many people do this for nothing. They're volunteers. All of the drivers that looked after the teams, for example, they had a half a dozen motor cars each, were all volunteer drivers. They took their holidays and they did it for nothing.
Just to be part of the games. And they've helped plenty of athletes on their paths to glory over the last 10 days. Now walking one of their own.
And still they pour on. They're coming hundreds and hundreds in all the different capacities. They've all had specific jobs to do. And as I said, this is the only time that we've had the opportunity of giving them any public recognition at all. And they're lining up around the perimeter of the track. The athletes are assembled in the middle in front of the band. And that's the overview of this closing ceremony here at Meadowbank in Edinburgh.
And pretty soon, the rest of the athletes that are all around the stadium here today will be asked to join the volunteers and their standard bearers and take part in this closing ceremony.
Yes, it looks like they may have finally got to the end. No, there's still some more coming in. There's a little gap there and more are coming in. And you notice that they have different uniforms. Now, each one of those uniforms signifies a different job.
What they did, that's
what
right.
They did. The black and white of the blazers are the officials who run the various events, and they're all there. The hostesses who looked after people, the people who attended gates and did all sorts of things, the drivers, the bus drivers and coaches and all that sort of stuff. And each of them in separate sorts of uniforms, and they look very spectacular. Still that wind blowing very strongly down the straight, and you see the flagpole has an awful lean on it for most of the games, I think.
Yes, I was watching that today while the relays were being run. I thought I was lucky to stand for the last 10 days.
I can recall 16 years ago that Her Majesty the Queen was here, and when the crowd sang, "Will you now come back again?" and "Auld Lang Syne," as they call it, she had a tear on her eye. And Lisa, she wasn't the only one.
No.
To hear more than 20,000 Scots sing those songs. The words of Rappy Burns, as they call him, placed up on the scoreboard. And it is the pronunciation here that we call it Auld Lang Syne. It's Auld Lang Syne is the way they pronounce it. And they put the words up in how they were written originally, way back in the 18th century. And the crowd just stood and sang in a moment that I will always treasure. And the scoreboard says the entry of the officials, volunteers and hostesses. I think they're at last. They're all in, I think, Lisa, aren't they?
Yes.
the Men of Harlech being played now to a tribute to the Principality of Wales. And we understand that Wales may be a contender for the games in
1994.
1994, probably in Cardiff. Cardiff Games were held in 1958, great games for Australia, featuring people like Herb Elliott, Marlene Matthews, Dave Power, Dawn Fraser, John Conrads, Ilse Conrads, all of those people, legend in Australian sport, competing in the Cardiff Games in 1958. With the parade almost to its conclusion, I imagine that there could be, yes, I think there are a few gate crashes now. Here they come, yes, the athletes have jumped the fence. Over they come, they're going to be in this too. This does not surprise me. Why shouldn't they be?
There are hundreds of them there.
They've all come over from the competitive area, hundreds and hundreds of them. Remember that we had 1,670 odd athletes, and now as the Queen goes back to the royal enclosure, the athletes are running on to be part of this closing ceremony. We're coming fairly soon now to just the brief formalities which will close the games. The closing ceremony does not take as long as the opening ceremony. It's a much briefer affair, and now the athletes massing onto the arena will, no doubt, will all stand around the edge of this track because by tradition the Queen will depart by horse-drawn coach. I hope that happens again.
Yes.
The closing ceremony, of course, has an air of spontaneity about it. It's not as formal as the opening ceremony, and certain odd little things happen you don't expect. But I imagine I can remember a very famous closer of the last games where the Queen instructed the driver when she was being driven out of the stadium in Brisbane to go round again.
That's right.
And of course, when you get a royal command, Lisa,
Yeah, you must
drive round
obey.
again.
Flag bearers.
So they're asking now that will the competitors just take their position around the side of the track and allow the ceremony to continue. And this is going to just take a few minutes, but they are behaving, I think, in a fairly orderly manner. There's no misbehaving there at all. They're just coming out on the track and getting in position. And this is only going to make a slight delay. And you see the Australians there in their green uniforms. Of course, these games are a tremendous battle, always, between three countries, England, Canada and Australia. And this has been going on for 6 games now. Over those 6 games, Australia has finished on top of the gold medal count 3 times, Canada twice, or once, and England twice. Now, the final tally was England 52 gold, 43 silver, 48 bronze.
On behalf
Canada 51, 33, 31, Australia 40, 46, 35.
Council for Scotland, I am privileged to offer our sincere thanks to all the sportsmen and sportswomen, volunteers, hosts, hostesses and technical officials who have contributed so magnificently to making these 1986 Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh such a resounding success. Thank you all.
That was Mr. Campbell, the chairman of the Commonwealth Games Council for Scotland. I'll be saying goodbye now. I'll just close with a famous Scottish expression, Lang may your lombric, which means long may your chimneys smoke, and that sums up the people of Edinburgh. Over to Tim Lane.
Flag bearers in an arc around the Tribune of Honour. Very soon they'll lower the flags.
As chairman of the Commonwealth Games Council for Scotland, I hand back to you the flag of your country, both in token of our friendship and goodwill towards you, and as a memento of the 13 Commonwealth Games held in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1986.
Chief Marshal now orders the flag bearers to raise their flags. Mr. Peter Heatley. Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation. Waiting for the Lord Provost of Edinburgh, the Right Honourable John Mackay.
That the ceremonial flag of the Commonwealth Games be lowered.
The lowering of the Commonwealth flag, a flag party of 8 members of the 1st Battalion of the Black Watch made their way to the flagpole for the striking of the flag.
Lance Corporal Michael Elder of the pipes and drums of the 1st Battalion, the Black Watch. The lone piper. He's been playing the pipes since he was 9. Sleep, dearie, sleep is the regimental lights out or lament of the Black Watch.
Flag now marched in quick time to the Tribune of Honour.
When he reaches the Tribune of Honour, the flag party commander will hand over the ceremonial flag to Mr. Peter Heatley, Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, who will in turn hand it over to Edinburgh's Lord Provost, the Right Honourable John Mackay.
Lord Provost, as Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, I entrust this ceremonial flag to your care, and I ask that in due time you or your successor will deliver it to the Mayor of Auckland, host city, to the 14th Commonwealth Games.
This duty I willingly undertake to fulfill.
And now Mr. Heatley will invite the Queen to close the 13th Commonwealth Games.
Your Majesty, I now call on you to close the Games of the 13th Commonwealth Games in Scotland.
In the name of the Commonwealth Games Federation, I proclaim the 13th Commonwealth Games, Edinburgh, 1986, closed. And in accordance with tradition, I call upon the sportsmen and sportswomen of the Commonwealth to assemble in 4 years' time in New Zealand, there to celebrate the 14th Commonwealth Games. May they display cheerfulness and concord, so that the spirit of our family of nations may be carried on with ever greater eagerness, courage and honor for the good of humanity and the peace of the world.
Scotland the brave.
Now got to defend New Zealand. Peter Heatley, Arthur Campbell and John Mackay returning to the royal box.
Some formalities at this closing ceremony, and for others it's a very informal affair. And despite an English athlete being held up at shoulder height on a stretcher by some teammates, and the athlete is covered in shaving cream, it seems.
Oh, is that what it is? It's wrapped in bandages.
Perhaps it's just cream.
Cultural display involving the Scottish regimental bands and members of the Commonwealth Arts Festival.
And the cultural display that we're going to see has been called Lap of Honour. The athletes now been invited to join the lap of honour, and appropriately so.
This bunch of New Zealanders are a pretty happy lot, looking forward to 1990 in Auckland.
After the month preceding these Edinburgh Games, trauma, turbulence, boycotts, they came and they were successful. And now to see the closing ceremony, you wouldn't know that there was ever a problem in the first place.
Pipes leading the Royal Tonga Police Band, 26 bandsmen and 6 dancers, all policemen and women. They have to do so many ceremonial duties now they hardly have any time for police work. It's their first appearance in Edinburgh. They had the honour on Thursday of playing to the Prince and Princess of Wales in the music tent in Princes Street Gardens. Brass band that play no traditional Tongan instruments. The men will be wearing their police uniforms consisting of a white safari type jacket and a black wrap over skirt type garment known as the tupanu. The dancers will be wearing Tongan national costume, skirts made from the leaves and barks of the banana and coconut palm trees.
Also taking part, a cultural troupe of dancers from Malawi, the African country that has stronger links than any other with Scotland. The cultural group in Malawi are used to perform at all ceremonial occasions and frequently perform with the life president, Dr. Banda, who was educated on a Church of Scotland mission station and read medicine at Edinburgh University. 20 girls and 15 boys.
Those two groups reflecting just a minute percentage of the artists that have come to Edinburgh to perform in the Commonwealth Arts Festival. Being theatre performers, dancers, singers, writers. They come and go, and they don't stay like the athletes do. The Tongans and the Malawians are still in Edinburgh, and that's why they're taking part in this ceremony today.
Commonwealth Arts Festival coinciding with the Games. I only had the pleasure of witnessing a small part of it. I was in the city at lunchtime one day just before the game started, and I heard a calypso group from the West Indies playing in the Prince's Gardens in the middle of the city. That was really something.
Welsh. Oh, the Australians trying to make a pyramid down the bottom here. Not quite succeeding.
The uniformed ladies in the background, that we can barely see through the musicians, wearing below their white jackets the Commonwealth Games tartan of 1986.
Or the medal bearers, weren't they? I suppose. Prince Edward enjoying all of this?
He's had a great time.
Hasn't he?
That's the scene in the home straight down in front of us. Come to a Commonwealth Games expecting to see a lot of colour, but the reality invariably exceeds the anticipation.
Watch trying to make their way into the stadium again. They have to walk pretty slowly behind all the athletes.
But they're still all in step.
Yes.
Are the horses?
No. The carriage will take the Queen out of the stadium.
Carriage and horses have been brought up from the Royal Mews at Buckingham Palace for the occasion. It's traditional for the Queen's carriage to be pulled by greys. The two being used are Twilight and Cardiff.
Driven by the head coachman from Buckingham Palace, Mr. Arthur Scholl, who's been with the Royal Mews for the past 17 years. There was going to be a guard surrounding the walk she had to make, but it's all athletes.
Final farewell to Mr. Heatley and Mr. Campbell and Her Majesty, their Royal Highnesses, Princes Philip, Edward, prepare to leave. Who wants a Rolls Royce when you can travel like that?
Not me. That'd be wonderful. Duke looking a little cold there. I had to get the blanket around his legs. The Queen will decide today whether she goes around the track in extra time.
Three cheers for Her Majesty, ringing out to her delight.
Let us join the band in Old Lang Syne.
courage on the final bend. Will it enter the straight, or will it proceed through the exit? It's heading out of the stadium. Take the royal party back to Holyrood Palace.
I wonder what he's pointing at. Flags being struck from the main stand. Now all the competitors will be invited to follow the military bands. I don't think they're going to, though.
Preceding them. Headed by the host team.
Scottish Saltire.
Scots collected 33 medals at the Games. Alas, only 3 of them gold, 12 silver and 18 bronze. And I had the pleasure to be here as they won their first at the main stadium, with Liz Lynch bringing home the bacon in the 10,000 metres. What a moment it was. I must say that despite the fact that one comes hoping to see as many Australian victories as possible, I really hope that we might see a Scotland victory here, and we did.
Will you know come back again?
Speaking of the performances of the countries, Norman Mays informed me that England's haul of 52 gold medals is a record. The previous best was Canada's 45 in 1978. So England's sporting strength is on the up, and that's something really good to see. And for the second Games in a row, England just stealing the honours in the overall victories section, taking the very last gold medal in the men's 4x400 to amass 52 successes of the highest form for Canada's 51. It was 51 all going into that last race, and when Anthony Mayhorn of Canada made his move towards Phil Brown of England, approaching the 200-metre point of the last leg of the relay, it was as though he knew what the stakes were. Australia third with 40, and in the overalls, England 143, Australia 121, Canada 115. And it takes more than 3 countries to make the Games, and it takes more than medal-winning athletes. would it be without all of this?
The athletes just keep running around and around. I bet the Scottish athletes never wanted to end. It's a magnificent feeling.
You told us on opening day, Lisa, about your attitudes towards opening ceremonies and how sorry you were that you didn't march in Moscow at the Olympic Games in 1980. What about the closers?
Do you know, the only closer I ever went in was in Brisbane in 1982. Because in 1978, it was right after Christchurch in 1974, and they'd had such a disastrous sort of closing there, apparently. We weren't allowed to, in case we got hurt, because we were all going to West Berlin for the World Championships. And in 1980, we were flown out of Moscow, of course, before the closing ever ended. So I watched the closing on television at home. But it's wonderful after, you know, being in Brisbane. I was so sorry that I didn't get to go or take part in any of the others, because they're really wonderful in that they're after everything. The opening ceremony's before everything, and although you want to soak up the atmosphere, you've still got a lot of things to think about, whereas the closing ceremony, you don't have to think about anything but having a good time and enjoying being with all the competitors, all the friends that you've made. It's just wonderful. The New Zealanders, they'll really be looking forward to 1990, because they'll be on home territory. Now, the way they've been improving over the last couple of years should be really successful when they get to Auckland in 1990.
Kiwis amassed 37 medals, 7 gold, 16 silver and 14 bronze, and they certainly will be formidable in 4 years' time, as the host country always is. And I think we might be about to hear a Maori haka from the Kiwis down in front of us, although that's not visible to you at this time as we look down on Meadowbank from a great height.
What a magnificent sight. Meadowbank Stadium, St Margaret's Lock at the top of your picture, Queen's Park or Holyrood Park, all underneath Arthur's Seat. It's really a magnificent place, isn't it?
We missed the haka, but we might see the response.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get that. Mac enjoyed himself all around the different venues. He was at the swimming a bit. Is he out here a bit?
No, it's the first time I've seen him.
Oh,
I think he might be wiping a tear away at the moment.
Steve Cram.
Yes, one of the great stars. And so much lying in store for him. 3 gold medals at 2 Commonwealth Games. Another superb victory today in the 1500 metres, where he really had to earn it after being given 20 metres to make up by his countryman John Gladwin. So, from Meadowbank, the main stadium, the competition, the pomp and ceremony, the colour, and finally the emotion and nostalgia. The Commonwealth Games of 1986 are all over. Plenty of partying to be done tonight, no doubt, Lisa.
Lots of partying.
And the warming up being done at the moment. And we need some warming up too, because it's been another typically Scottish day.
Scottish
even at this
summer
time of
day,
the year.
yes. I think it's even colder than it was at the opening, and that was in the evening. And that's the haka. Well, the athletes just don't want to leave, do they? I think this will end for a little while.
But we better. That's it from the main stadium. We hope you've enjoyed being with us into the wee small hours. We've certainly enjoyed being with you. And so from the main stadium and the 13th Commonwealth Games, we bid you goodbye and hand you back to Peter G. in our studio.
Thank you, Tim, Lisa and Norman. Well, don't leave us. Even though the festivities and the competition are over, we can relive some of the great moments of the Games very shortly when we look at all the Australian gold medal performances at these 13th Commonwealth Games. Tim ran through some of the medal winners. Let's have a look at the lineup as it's finished. The medal table, and this is how it was. England taking the last gold medal to finish up the Premier country with 52, a total of 142. Canada one back, overall 115. Australia next best in the totals, 120. And the 40 gold medals for Australia is a record, beating the 39 set in Brisbane 4 years ago. So it's been a great Games for the green and gold. New Zealand with 8, a fine performance from them. They'll look forward to even better in Auckland in 4 years' time. The Welsh with 6 gold medals. 3 other countries took gold medals. The Scots getting in there for 3, Northern Ireland and the Isle of Man. Altogether there were 15 countries who won medals at these Games, and that is the lineup. Not a bad performance considering the countries that were missing from these Commonwealth Games. Well, time to relive those great golden memories for Australia as we roll the honour board, the 40 gold medals won by Australia, and then look at how and when those medals were won. The Roll of Honour, Aussie Gold.